yo, 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 oh, oh. Listen, I'm so damn excited. I want to yell. Acclaimed are back on All Elite. Gee, that's swell. Watered down insults and friendly promos. Gone are the days of pulling opponents. Come on, man. Kidding me? Nah, I'm only playing. It's just a joke. Acclaim will do just fine despite complaints for the woke. Continue the insults, continue the roast. Never go stale like this keto toast. Oh.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy as Don Tony gives you news and reviews from AEW.
Welcome to the party! Oh my God! Those are coming
NXT.
It's over! Cross is here to ransack NXT souls!
And indie wrestling. It's Wednesday night, Dynamite.
Know what's happening in the world of wrestling without the hate and clickbait. And now, your host, Don Tony.
I've seen a lot of awesome Minoru Suzuki matches in recent years. The King. I've seen some awesome matches. Tonight was not one of them. No. 5 matches tonight. Look at AEW's format from even 6 months ago compared to now, and you're seeing a lot of changes. By the way, the current rankings, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse, Hobbs, Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, Jon Moxley, and none of them are getting a world title shot anytime soon. That's why I said a year and a half ago, that's nice and everything, but once you remember a year and a half ago, if AEW gets the opportunity to sign some big-time free agents that could spike pay-per-view buy rates and spike ticket sales and spike merchandise and spike ratings, you're not going to make them wrestle 15, 20 matches on Dark just to inflate those numbers. So, oh, look, Orange Cassidy's 15-1. Guess what? CM Punk ain't going to wrestle 16 matches for 2 years. Daniel Bryan may be a little different. My point, rankings are cool. Problem is, what you're getting now, the ranking system doesn't seem to coincide with what they want to do. Look, I'm not ripping AEW. I like the fact that Daniel Bryan comes in right to the champion. Why not? Seriously. But this person. Why not? Do you realize the payroll that AEW has? No, it's not on WWE's level. These guys, their contracts, we've talked about this for a long time now. People are only figuring it out now. You could make this much money in WWE. Even if you re-sign to make this much money, the schedule and the amount of workload and how much freedom that is taken away from you. Good Moxley. Man, that main event was kind of shitty, man. Not only did it go to a commercial break, people like, wait, this is starting at 9:52 p.m. and it ended 3 minutes before they went off the air. Just think about that. Main event, commercial break, 3 minutes before we go off the air. Oh, Please don't give me, oh, somebody ran late. Anyway, you got Adam Cole coming in. You got Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. How long you think CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are going to be wrestling? A couple of years? 5 years at the most? Strike while the iron is hot. See, what you're starting to realize is something that we talked about a year and a half ago. Problem is, AEW didn't have all the necessary ingredients to truly present it the way they wanted to. AEW's formula right now is very simple. It's very simple. I'm not going to spit like Batista, but every fan out there that likes AEW, give me what I want. Give me what I need. AEW is giving the fans who they want to see on TV. They are mixing in a lot of their personal friends like Cutler and some members of the Dark Order, and some other people will get some opportunities that may not be all that deserving, but they still are mixing it in. There's a balance. You know, when you go to a 5-star restaurant, not every little aspect of the menu is going to be 5 stars. The carrots aren't made in 24-karat gold dirt. All right, the coffee, it's not all like shit out by cats but you have to cut some corners here and there. You can't have every person. This isn't an all-star game. But AEW's formula is simple. When you go to an AEW show, you're going to go home seeing the people that you enjoy. They may not all wrestle. They may have talking segments. My God, look at all the talking segments today. More than WWE television. Anybody care? Nope. Because we got to see who we wanted to see on TV. No disrespect to Monday Night Raw. But you watch an episode of Monday Night Raw, and as you're watching it, make a list of everybody who performs on that show. Whether it's a talking segment, a backstage segment, in-ring, and you'll come up probably with 3/4 of the people like, I don't really want to see them. AEW, it's the opposite. Tony Khan is putting people on TV that the fans want to see. Period. AEW is taking a similar route that Dixie Carter did a very long time ago, and I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but the perfect example, the one I always remember, we talked about it last night on Patreon again, Christian Cage. When Christian signed with TNA, I'll never forget the infamous interview he did at that time, that he took less money to go to TNA. Why? Because he enjoyed sleeping in his own bed at night. He enjoyed not having the rigors of going up and down the road. It does burn people out. It's not just a physical thing, it's an emotional thing too. Adam Cole wanting to play video games and wanting to Twitch and wanting to socialize with fans. I know that may seem petty on WWE's part, and believe me, in no way, shape, or form am I defending WWE. But you got to understand what happens when you work for a billionaire company. As much as WWE may want to have given in to Adam Cole and let him play his video games, problem is you make the exception for him, make the exception for someone else, then it's unfair treatment. Do you understand that there are lawyers on both sides that examine every little sentence in a contract? And if you have a little bit of bias with another person, that's where you cause a lot of problems. So WWE lives by the sword and dies by the sword. So, but let's also understand something too. And I've brought this up many times before, but I think it's definitely deserving to bring it up again now. This isn't new. This isn't new with WWE. This isn't new with how some wrestlers are used or treated, and some people creatively in the doghouse and in catering and this and that. When someone who is not already an established megastar signs a contract, there is something called risk. They know deep down inside that their style, maybe it doesn't click with WWE, even though they know they're good, even though their peers know they're good, even their competitors know they're good. But if WWE doesn't see it, if it's not in their system, It's just like, there's a type of person that a lot of you like to date. There might be a type of person. And, you ever see the old stereotypes like this cute person? I don't want to say male or female, you pick whichever one you want. Well, let's just use female, for example. Female, she comes home. Oh, yeah, look, Married with Children. All right, Married with Children. It's a bad example, but I was watching it last night. Kelly comes home, and she's got this punk metal guy with piercings through his nose, his ears, his eyes, his lips. And the stereotype, like, okay, that person looks like that. That person must be trouble. There's other people that wouldn't dare go anywhere near someone that looks like that. So these people know the risk that they take. Now, I want to make another point today. Look, Mike, I appreciate that you want me to talk about what 10,000 other podcasters find it an important topic. Mick Foley giving a little shade to WWE. I talk to you. I don't talk at you. Mick Foley has a right to his opinion. Period. These people out there don't have material to talk about other things. They got to blow it up. Look at Triple H. God bless him. He underwent a procedure last week. He had a cardiac incident. Okay? Cardiac incident. What was the exact words they used today? You think people would Google the definition before actually writing stuff online? What was the exact word they used before? It was cardiac. It wasn't cardiac arrest. Someone in the chat room, by the way, much love to everybody who is with me live tonight. Tonight's show is going to be a little different. I'm going to be taking calls within a few minutes. Nobody knows. Nobody read it. It was cardiac something. It wasn't cardiac arrest. Am I going to have to go on social media? Cardiac event. Thank you. Thank you, Conor McGregor fan. Cardiac event. I talked about it twice on last week's show. My father, who was cut from the bottom of his neck to his belly button in January because he refuses to relax and let up. He went to Home Depot last week and got very, very dizzy and lightheaded. And he had a cardiac event. Cardiac event does not mean heart attack, immediate heart attack. It could be lightheadedness, loss of breath, chest pains, headache. Could be a lot of things. Triple H went in and had a procedure last week. We don't know if he had a stent put in. We don't know if they had to clean something out. We don't know if it's something more serious. But people immediately online saying he had a heart attack, cardiac arrest, he almost died, he almost this, he almost this. They're just looking for hits and likes. Triple H had a heart issue last week. He's resting. He's going to get a full recovery, 100%. It was genetic related, which tells me that, it could be something with the muscle. It could have been an irregular heartbeat. It could have been a misbeat. Could have been simply some lightheadedness. But people immediately reaching for the worst. My God, shut the fuck up. So when you tell me about Mick Foley complaining about WWE, other people may want to run with it as a major story. It's Mick Foley expressing his opinion. Just like Dave Meltzer expresses his opinion. Just like I express my opinion. Just like each and every one of you out there express your opinion. You have that right. Just because it differs from what you like or dislike doesn't mean that the person is wrong. Period. That's my answer about the Mick Foley stuff. And best wishes to Triple H. Return quickly. And for all those dumb motherfuckers that, made Triple H look like the dunce of WWE for the last 6 months. Remember the creative meetings? Yeah, the whole table. Bruce Pritchard, Johnny Ace, Vince McMahon, everybody, NXT, they're all at the table discussing. And Triple H, remember, in the corner with the dunce hat. Can I say something? Shut up. You lost your power. The people out there today that said, why did WWE have to post that announcement? Welcome to the world of finance, publicly traded company, billion-dollar company, financial investors. Triple H is one of the most important, powerful people in WWE. When someone has a heart incident and has to go to the hospital and have a procedure, whether he wanted Triple H tattooed to his heart or if it was something serious, investors have a right to know. Just like if Triple H was tremendously demoted, financial investors have a right to know. It is a billion-dollar publicly traded company. You think they want WrestlingDickhead.com to report that Triple H had a heart attack? Vince McMahon is not going to be around forever. Forever. You think these investors want to think, oh my God, Triple H might be on his deathbed. Who's going to take control instead? Who's Stephanie? I'm going to sell my stock. You think they're going to create controversy in the finance world by leaving things uncertain about Triple H? No, they're going to hide that he's being demoted into a clown. That's why they're a billion-dollar company, and that's why the people online are begging for a $2 super chat. Sorry for being a dick. Not towards all of you, but to everybody else out there, they don't faze me. They don't faze me at all. So anyway, I got a question. Not really to all of you, but just to the wrestling community in itself. Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho. Why didn't you all give a fuck when she was on TV for the last 4 years? Maybe WWE kept her in catering because you all sat on your asses and never reacted or very little. Polite. You know, she's good. She's okay. She's okay. Now she's in AEW. Ruby Soho. Ruby. And I'm not knocking Ruby Soho. But let's not fucking play games here. You know, everybody out there in social media land that said that Adam Cole's arms are as thick as my finger 6 weeks ago when he's cutting a promo and carrying cross. Now all of a sudden he's all elite. Unbelievable. Epic. Amazing. I want to tattoo his name to my, I want to tattoo Baby to my nuts. Each one of my nuts. Hey, honey, check this out, baby. My God, so two-faced motherfuckers out there. Ruby Soho, everybody's in love with Ruby right now. But when she was on TV all this time, you know, nobody gave a shit all that much. A lot of people did, don't get me wrong. But a lot of these people out there, give me a break. Seriously. This is epic, unbelievable. This is where Adam Cole belongs. But when he was in NXT, he should have been a gas station attendant. Man, that's why I roll solo. Seriously. For all of you, obviously. These people, you could see right through it, man. Right through it. You know, I said 3 years ago that AEW is going to be the first millennial promotion. Now you got AEW using Dan Lambert to basically be the heel for a lot of the millennial whack jobs that are just overly excited about AEW. Look, man, I'm not going to disrespect those fans. They have been fed lackluster entertainment in their eyes for many, 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 many years. TNA, Impact Wrestling, had the opportunity to step up for years and years and years. Oh, no. We'll do Global Force Wrestling. Global Farce Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett versus Dixie Carter. Sucked. MLW, nice small promotion. Doesn't have the finances to turn into something major. So now you finally got someone with mega bucks behind them that loves wrestling, that gets involved. And that is the Khan family. Tony Khan, Shad Khan. So props to all of them. But because Tony is young and he's hip and he socializes and he mingles online, a lot of these people think that somehow they're going to get in the good graces of AEW. I don't know if anybody's realized it, but AEW pretty much, you know, unless you have something serious, if you don't have a friends and family connection to that company, You ain't getting a job. You ain't getting a hand job. You ain't getting no job. So, anyway, I thought AEW tonight was decent. It was a lot of fun. On paper, when you look at the matches, I think it's a very underwhelming card. I mean, let's dissect it a little bit. The opening match, Malakai Black versus Dustin Rhodes, was decent. Why there wasn't like a big-time after-match beatdown to Dustin to bring out Cody to explain why Cody is going to fight Malakai Black here in Queens, New York, baffles me. I got to give major props to Taz because this match, Malakai Black, the turnbuckle was exposed and Dustin's head hit that turnbuckle and Malakai Black goes for his finisher, the spinning heel kick. And just like CM Punk last week when I said the GTS stood for go to shoulder, not go to sleep, he hits Dustin on the shoulder and it looked terrible on TV. Props to Taz, who picked up on that immediately and said, I don't even think the spinning heel kick did Dustin in. I think he was knocked out from being hit into the exposed corner. That is a professional. Taz picked up on that almost immediately. But everybody else online, it seems like it didn't connect. Seems? People are so afraid to criticize things these days. The match was okay. But man, where's the storytelling? Where is the taunting? Why didn't Malakai try to take Dustin's boot off? Why didn't Cody come out there to set up this match? To me, it just seemed like they could have done a hell of a lot more. Hell of a lot more. By the way, I think Excalibur is getting married. I think that might be why he was off TV today. I asked a few people tonight, and a few people said to me he's getting married or he just got married. So if that's the case, congratulations to Excalibur. Much love, much love. Stand by because I am going to open the phone lines very, very soon. We're going to run today until about 11:30 p.m. Eastern because tomorrow night it's Q&A and it's going to be totally interactive and we're going to have a really good show tomorrow night as well. And then Saturday we'll return too. So now CM Punk comes out and this was a little bit awkward also. I mean, it felt forced in my opinion. Obviously they want Ricky Starks likely to be the next victim of CM Punk, which is fine. I actually think Ricky Starks versus CM Punk is a decent match. But I think somebody lost their cue because CM Punk came out there and, he talked about the pay-per-view. By the way, Brian Pillman's sister was at ringside. Love that woman. Talked about it after Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, God bless her. And Brian Pillman's daughter is pregnant as well. Remember that when we talk about MJF in a few minutes. And by the way, let me say this right now. For anybody out there that got extremely offended at MJF tonight, the shots towards Melanie and everything else, trust me, I don't think Melanie Pillman was very, very happy with what was said tonight. I will not be surprised if somebody out there gets quote from Melanie Pillman just absolutely incensed for what went down tonight. But guess what? I hate to sound really, really cold about this, but I think the wrestling world doesn't give a shit about Melanie Pillman, period. Everything else that was said, if Brian Pillman was in ECW and went further, you would have gotten the same thing tonight. As outrageous as that was, I think Brian Pillman would have loved it because they know it's just storyline. So getting back to CM Punk tonight, CM Punk cuts a promo right after his match. He texts his wife, April, and the first words out of her mouth was, "What's next?" And CM Punk's like, "I don't know." So CM Punk is asking the fans, "Who do you want to see me fight next?" And obviously, some people were saying Moxley because they were in Cincinnati tonight, Moxley's hometown. And they said Moxley. I think he said Bryan Danielson, said someone else. no mention of Team Taz. Taz gets on the mic, and look, I love Taz on the mic. Taz was fine tonight. CM Punk was fine tonight. Problem is, I guess Taz maybe was supposed to, or maybe CM Punk was supposed to mention a whole bunch of names and maybe rattle off just in passing Team Taz or something like that. But Taz is like, keep Team Taz out of your mouth. And CM Punk's like, I didn't even say nothing tonight. And Taz's like, no, in interviews and this and this and that. And it just felt like ad-libbing. And meanwhile, Ricky Starks is not there. Powerhouse Hobbs looking constipated. Green Hook, who has no business being out there. But, hey, he's not embarrassing himself, so I really can't complain all that much. But it just, the whole segment, if this is going to lead up to CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, okay, fine. But just the whole setup for it just felt like something was off. It just did not really click. By the way, much love to that person who had the big Daphne sign. Very, very thoughtful. I'm a little surprised at the lack of people who visibly wore an armband or something like that. I mean, I know Nikki Ash did, but, we had a whole casino battle royale Sunday, and, I asked a bunch of people, I'm like, did anybody else? I really didn't see much of anything else. I think maybe the bunny. I think the bunny did. But I asked, anybody else? Like, no one really got back to me. Steph, why don't I review Impact Wrestling? Because 90,000 people tune into it. 10, 12 times less than AEW. 20-something times less than Raw and SmackDown. And only about 5% of everybody here watches Impact Wrestling. So honestly, because I'm not going to be up here 3 hours a night, 7 days a week, if you have specific questions, tomorrow, anything goes tomorrow. You want me to talk about Impact? Ask away. But no, I mean, I'm not going to do an Impact recap for a show that gets 90,000 viewers and is on the decline. I have vented enough what I think of the problems with Impact Wrestling, and, they're going to go their way, however they want to go, and that's good. But had to put the air on. It's getting a little hot in here. So, CM Punk uses Taz's line on him. The Team Taz, beat me if you can, survive if I let you. Pretty cool segment, but something just felt awfully forced, in my opinion. We had Santana and Ortiz cutting a promo that they're now going to work their way to Tag Team Gold. I think we may see Santana and Ortiz versus the Lucha Brothers in New York. Kind of makes sense. Santana and Ortiz, New York homeboys. You got to put them in for a title shot that night. Will they actually win the tag titles? That is interesting. I don't know if you take the titles off of the Lucha Brothers that quickly. So that's something to look forward to. Not to jump too far ahead, but now they already have 2 matches announced for New York, Queens, Malakai Black and Malakai Black and Cody Rhodes, and Brian Pillman Jr. versus MJF, which is very interesting. MJF, even though is a monster heel, he's going to be in Queens, New York, 10 minutes away from Nassau County, Long Island. So MJF is going to get his share of cheers that night. I mean, MJF's going to have to work kind of hard ripping New York to get some serious heel heat. But now we get backstage segment with Ruby Soho and Britt Baker, who was with Rebel and Jamie Hayter. And, they're exchanging some words, and Ruby Soho is mocking Britt Baker for all of her, phrases, baddest bitch on the block, the role model, this and that. And she says, you use all those catchphrases to hide what you're not. And basically, Britt Baker with, the line that everybody loved tonight, you call yourself, how did she say it? The runaway. She says, why don't you run your way back into catering like you've been for the last 4 years? And everybody ate that up. So now Ruby Soho, she'll probably take on Britt Baker in New York. I think that actually may end up happening. But tonight, Ruby Soho gets Jamie Hayter. Now, up to this point, we have Malakai Black versus Dustin Rhodes. Okay. Now we get Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. And it was a decent match, but it feels like all that momentum that Dante Martin got that night a couple of weeks ago has basically, all that momentum has been put on a screeching halt. I don't know why out of the entire 90-man roster they have, they fed Dante Martin to Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't get it. I think Powerhouse Hobbs legitimately got knocked a little silly from that dive outside the ring by Dante Martin. But out of nowhere, he hits the side slam, the spine buster, and beats Dante Martin. Very, very uneventful. Very uneventful. And, this is 2 matches in a row now where the finishers were kind of like, meh, let's be honest. Now, the non-wrestling segments were great. I like them balanced. I don't need a 5-star match to be entertained. I was entertained tonight. But as far as the matches themselves, Malakai is over with the crowd. It's going to be really interesting to see how the New York crowd treats Cody. Trust me. I mean, AEW fans truly appreciate Cody and everything he's done to get AEW where it's at now. And it's not just Cody, obviously, but Malakai is badass. And AEW definitely has taken notice to that. It's going to be really interesting to see how that New York crowd treats Cody when he takes on Malakai. So now we get Dan Lambert in the rafters with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And he's ripping on the millennials. And AEW keeps signing 5'9" skinny guys to hide the truth. And basically the truth is that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page are 2 real men. And he issues an open challenge. If anybody in that locker room wants to come up to our suite and do something about it, come up here. And nobody came up there. Because we're pressed for time. Too many things tonight. Honestly, Dan Lambert's role is working. Dan Lambert is basically playing Jim Cornette, anti-AEW, and the flippy, and everything that triggers people online. So AEW decided to turn it into a character, and basically how you offset Dan Lambert is to chant AEW even louder. Nothing wrong with that. I like it. I said it yesterday. Breaking news. You can like AEW and dislike WWE. You can like WWE and dislike AEW. You can like AEW and WWE. You like something, speak up, speak loud, be proud and loud of who you like. Never let someone make you feel that you're a goof, you're a moron, you're an idiot. There's other words that I could use. I don't even think I've cursed tonight. By the way, how'd you like my corny little rap? I know about 100. Well, you know what? I'm looking right now. There's about 400 of you on Twitter right now and another 250 on Facebook. Not everybody hangs out on YouTube, but about 80% of you missed my corny little goofy rap earlier about the Acclaim. I'm not going to replay it, though. You could watch the beginning of the show. But, basically, Dan Lambert, it's a good character. It basically makes you want to get behind your company even more. So you support, even if you don't like AEW. Obviously, there's a lot of fans that don't like AEW. Otherwise, it'd be doing 2-3 million fans a week. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And, you got to ignore that negativity online, because you'll get people out there that'll tell you, oh, we're all wrestling fans. You should be able to like what you want to like, and we could do better, and we should all respect each other. And then because you sing Judas, you're a whack job. You're in a cult. You're a freak. Oh, no, it was just jokes. Just jokes. Yeah, that's all it is. And then, oh, no, everybody should like who they like. And then when you rip people that they like, they cry like infants, late for their baby bottle. Just be loud and proud. Whatever you like, enjoy it. Brag. That's something for a lot of you younger people out there, and I keep saying it. That is the number one difference of now compared to the Monday Night Wars in the 90s, is that even though I had friends that were hardcore WCW fan, I was a hardcore ECW fan. It took me a long time to get back into WWF at that time. But I had friends that were hardcore WCW, loved NWO. Everything was NWO for life. I was hardcore ECW. Some of my friends were, more traditional, Bret Hart and others. But at the end of the day, we bragged and shouted as loud as we could how much we were happy to be wrestling fans. Even if you didn't like WWF, you go in your school, suck it, hey, suck it, Miss Jones. Everybody loved to be a wrestling fan. And then when you'd see those ratings come out, there's like 8, 9, 10 million viewers watching wrestling. And then you got your elders. Who watches that fake crap? That fake crap. Me, mother. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, that's right. I'll stun you. People would shut up. Wrestling was cool at that time. Wrestling is only cool at this time when you like something that the other people like also. Otherwise, you're uncool. Don't follow that path. A lot of people that are enjoying AEW, this weird noise that you see on social media, trying to shut people down simply because they like one group over another, that is a very, very tiny audience overall. Majority of fans are just having a ball. Just like Jim Ross said when they went off the air tonight, it really is an awesome time to be a wrestling fan. I don't know if it gets any better. I mean, and I brought this up the other day, I think the number one thing that people really miss more than anything is the surprises. To see someone actually jump ship. I mean, that was one of the greatest things about the Monday Night Wars. Like, who's going to leave for here and who's going to go here? And when this person went there, I mean, it was incredible. And that's something that's really been sorely missed for quite some time. So anyway, so Dan Lambert cuts his promo, gets the AEW fans even more behind the product, does his job. Matt Hardy wants to cut Orange Cassidy's hair, and just as Orange Cassidy said earlier, I think we all agree. Whatever. Are we going to get a hair versus hair match in New York? Are we going to get Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy, hair versus hair? I'll take it. Why not? I'll take it. Be interesting. All right, MJF comes out, calls Cincinnati potbelly pigs. He says that there's a reason why Cincinnati's in the Midwest, because everything is mid. Talking about the town, talking about food, talking about the Reds. And Taz, I agree with you. The Reds suck. I'm not a fan of the Reds. So now we got still Brian Pillman's daughter and sister at ringside. MJF starts calling them out. Now, obviously, they went along with this. Good for them. I know MJF really blurs that line. But the one thing about MJF at the end of the day is he is a professional. And what I mean by that is he's not going to be a loose cannon where even management is like, we can't fucking contain him. Yeah, I cursed. We can't contain him. We can't stop him. Is it worth all this headache? It's not like that. MJF did what Brian Pillman would have done in 1996. Just really went rabid on the microphone, calls his daughter 16 and pregnant, which was that god-awful MTV show at the time. And he's making the bad mouth to Brian Pillman's sister. So now we get Brian Pillman Jr.'s music. His music hits. Now they're from Cincinnati also. And I tell you, I think MJF, I wanted to write this on social media so bad today. I just didn't want people to deal with people who would think that I'm really taking personal shots at the Pillman family, because I'm not. But Brian Pillman Jr. comes out. He's defending his family. He's defending Cincinnati. And MJF starts going off even more. And first Pillman calls him, MJF should stand for Maxwell Jerkoff Friedman. And he says that Cincinnati has breeded some badasses like his father and John Moxley and others. And MJF starts talking about Melanie. And MJF says that back in the day, Melanie could have bred 500, offsprings who could be wrestlers today. But unfortunately, Melanie should have did to Brian Pillman Jr. like she did with everyone else. And that's swallow. And they go at it. Wardlow was going to try to break it up and kind of stop Brian Pillman Jr. And he did it a couple of times, but they forced the tease of the split because the crowd is chanting early on, you tapped out, you tapped out. So once Brian Pillman Jr. hits the ring, MJF, when Wardlow is getting into Pillman's face, MJF is like, oh, are you going to help me like you did on Sunday? And Wardlow's like, huh? What, bitch? He's looking at him like, what'd you just say? So MJF starting to verbally taunt Wardlow. So you could see that split will be coming, I think, sooner than later. But in the end, you have MJF, Wardlow laying out Brian Pillman Jr., and then Griff Garrison tries to make the save. He gets knocked out also. And later on, we learn that Brian Pillman Jr. will be taking on MJF in New York in a couple of weeks. This Friday, Brian Pillman Jr. will be taking on Max Caster on Rampage. He claimed her back. That's why I did my rap before. Should I play it, everybody? Should I? Should I play it just for jokes? One more time? For everybody out there that didn't see it before, should I do it one more time? Should I play it? If you say no, and I'm sorry, the only chat room, actually, you know what? I can see everybody's chat. Mostly everybody on YouTube are the one person. All right, some people are like, no. Some people like, yes. Some people like, I didn't see it. All right. It's only 55 seconds. All right. I made this earlier. I made it literally, if you look at the clock in the background, I made it 5 minutes before Dynamite started. I just wanted to do something because the Acclaimed are back, and they should have never been taken off TV in the first place. But they are back, and you know me, I don't mind poking fun at myself. I'm not a very good rapper. I made this earlier today. Yo, 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 oh. Listen, I'm so damn excited. I want to yell. Acclaimed are back on All Elite. Gee, that's swell. Watered down insults and friendly promos. Gone are the days of calling opponents. Come on, man. Kidding me? Nah, I'm only playing. It's just a joke. Acclaim will do just fine despite complaints for the woke. Continue the insults, continue the roast. Never go stale like this keto toast. Oh. You know, I don't know if I actually spit that on the floor before. I'm not kidding either. That's all I need is ants in this room. I'm going to have to look later. Oh! People that are like chilling. It's almost 11 o'clock at night. Then this middle-aged white Guido has got to like wake everybody up. What are you doing? So anyway, getting back to the show. I think MJF missed an opportunity tonight because MJF, after the challenge was made, and this is just my mind wandering, MJF writes on social media, Brian Pillman Jr. better stay in his lane. And I said, the Pillmans have a history, like father and son. The Pillmans have a history of not being able to stay in their lane. If you know what I mean. Remember Brian Pillman with the Hummer accident? I would have jumped all over that shit. Like father and son. So anyway, so we're going to get that. Moxley cutting a promo on Suzuki. I like the promo better than the match, to be honest with you. Ruby Soho versus Jamie Hayter. Not very good. God bless the people out there that have fallen in love with Ruby. She got an unfair shake in WWE. You know, let's remember she got paid for 4 years. She didn't work for free, but she did get paid for 4 years. But she definitely could have been used a lot better. It's nice to see her get this opportunity in AEW because you say to yourself, if AEW didn't sign her, what would she be doing right now? Would she be showing up on Impact just to, you know, like job to Deonna Purrazzo? Would they have given her a championship? What if she signed with Ring of Honor? Would she have been buried in a tournament? So, look, the fact that AEW is giving her this chance and giving her a shot almost immediately, again, I don't have the women's standings up here, but you look at the men's standings, look at the women. Ruby hasn't even had a match yet, and she's getting a championship shot. How do you think all those women that are looking at the rankings every week, how do you think they feel? That's what wrestling is. That's why this rankings, I never liked it. I know it's supposed to give this sense that, oh, this person is on a roll. Well, the announcers could tell us that every week. And the fans will tell you who they want to see fighting him. And just because you have someone winning 10, 12, 15 matches on AEW Dark Elevation and Rampage and maybe 2 on Dynamite, and then they're in the top 5 contenders, doesn't mean that they should be in the top 5 contenders. Like I brought up this list. Does anybody really think that anybody on this list is going to be fighting Kenny Omega anytime soon for the championship? Maybe Moxley once. Does it really feel that way? I guarantee you a month from now, 3 or 4 of those people on that list will no longer be in the top 5. Remember Pac? Pac was the perfect example. Pac was number 1 on that list. And then he cut a promo. Why am I not getting a championship shot? By the way, don't you love the hype for this Friday? Tonight, no Idolo, no Pac. Hobbs is 15. Well, make it 16-2. He won today. He won today. But let's be honest here. Ruby Soho and Jamie Hayter was a mess. And I hope Ruby did not seriously get injured during this match. A lot of people are concerned that she may have got her neck tweaked. That flatliner that she tried to do to Jamie Hayter looked like she fell face first to the ground. The finish, nobody seemed to be prepared for that finish, which was the kick. It fell flat. And then when Britt Baker hit the ring and attacked Ruby, it looked like she nailed her on the neck pretty good. And then, no offense, you know I love Riho. I have defended Riho in debates with Mish for 2+ years now. Talk about a random, like uneventful, like she really didn't give two you-know-whats about it. Go back and look when they chased off the heels and Riho is tending to Ruby. It looked like she was like, you okay? don't speak English. You okay? I don't know what to say. I don't speak English. She's just looking at Ruby like, okay, they told me to run out and make the save. Go back and look. I'm not saying it to be like nasty or anything. I love Rio. But talk about just generic. And now we got a 6-woman tag match on Rampage. That match was a mess tonight. It was a mess. Go back and watch it. You know, all these people out there that think they're going to get a follow, a like, a retweet, you know, $5, a free shirt, an autograph, a phone call, a hand job, a blow job, a real job from AEW. It ain't coming. Everything's epic, unbelievable, amazing. I can't wait to look tonight to see the feedback of Moxley versus Suzuki. What are you going to blame it on? Jet lag? Jet lag. How long has Suzuki been in the States? Since flying over? Speaking of trios matches, the old WCW vibes tonight. I think you see where I'm going with this. The in-ring matches were very disappointing. The skits and non-wrestling segments were phenomenal. I think everybody will agree on that. Give me one match that was awesome tonight. That was excellent. That was very good. That was above average. Give me one. Any? Old WCW vibes tonight. Why? Because we have the Dark Order taking on FTR and Shawn Spears. Match was very quick. They end up hitting the Death Valley Driver on John Silver for the win. And Rob, tell me what match was very good tonight. Give me one. Give me one, Rob. Let's show the world. Give me one, Rob. Please tell me where I'm wrong. Give me one. And I'll respect your opinion. Give me one. Just, take your time, but hurry up. Take your time, but hurry up. You ever see that cat, that animated GIF where he's looking at his nails like, any day? No response. Anyway, why have WCW? The opener. The opener. You know what? All right. The opener was not bad, but the storytelling towards the end was not very good. And the spin kick was awful. It just connected on Dustin's shoulder. It just was awful. And it should have told the story. It should have led to Cody coming out. He should have continued the beat down to Dustin, and then Cody would have came out there and chased him out of the ring and then challenged him in New York. You know why that didn't happen? Because they tried to put 15 segments on the show. If they would have left Dan Lambert off for 1 week and maybe trimmed down a little bit of another segment, you didn't even need that backstage segment with Ruby Soho and Britt Baker today. They should have trimmed down those 2 segments, given these guys 2-3 more minutes, and make it look like Malakai Black was trying to kill Dustin Rhodes. And it didn't feel that way. It felt like a wrestling match. It felt like Malakai Black was looking for a victory, not for someone's head. That was my problem with the match. But I respect that. So why did the trios match give me WCW vibes? Not because of the Dark Order teasing a split, and maybe we'll get the Wolfpack Dark Order and the Black and White Dark. That's not what I mean. You go back and watch that match, 3/4 of it. What were the commentators doing? The very same thing they used to do in WCW. One thing that pissed us off back in the 90s when WCW used to be on the air, and they would have like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko in the ring, or Rey Mysterio and Hoovy, or, some wrestlers that are not getting a huge opportunity, but getting a little bit. And all you would hear the commentators talk about during the match, 90% of it would be, what are the NWO going to do later? Hogan is in the back. What will Nash do? Is Savage there? Does he have Liz locked up? What is he doing here? Why are they in the building? I'm kind of nervous. What's going to happen? They would just talk about everything else except for the match. Tonight, they did the same thing. Jim Ross kind of reeled them back in tonight. I don't know if anybody noticed. Talking about BRYAN DANIELSON coming up later, CM Punk coming up later, The Elite coming up later, talking about other things that are go on, Adam Cole, baby. And Jim Ross is like, we got a fucking match here. Can we talk about the match? So that kind of annoyed me a little bit. But the Dark Order teasing a little bit of a split. Did anybody ask in the media scrum if CM Punk has talked to Colt Cabana since he signed with AEW? Chat room? Anyone out there that checked the media scrum? Or did they ask, CM Punk, do you drink your Pepsi with lemon? Lemon or lime? I'm curious because I'm curious. I want to know if they were able to bury the hatchet a little bit. Maybe he said it in a radio interview, but I want to know in the medium scrum. Nobody said nothing, right? No. Where are you going to go for breakfast tomorrow? Tully Blanchard cuts a promo, and for some reason, Tully Blanchard is suddenly pissed off at Darby Allin and Sting. Sting, you're using Darby Allin. I want Spears to kick Darby Allin's ass next week. Okay. It just felt, what it felt like? It felt like a tape segment that was placed in the wrong spot tonight during the show. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Guevara comes out there during the commercial break, which was more for the live crowd. So now we get the Elite come out. Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and Adam Cole basically tells off Tony Schiavone about his friendship with Britt Baker, and he's telling him, get out of the ring. My God, you're so slow. Get the hell out of the ring. It's taking you so long. But the Elite are in the ring. Adam Cole, I think a lot of people expect him to totally destroy WWE. I don't know. I mean, frustration, he deserves to be extremely frustrated, no doubt. But Adam Cole is a professional. Adam Cole will tease it, but I don't think he'll burn bridges. So Adam Cole is, talking about how he's going to have his debut match next week. And next week, he will take on Frankie Kazarian. When we had the little run-in that happened a few moments later, they needed to have Frankie Kazarian nail Adam Cole somewhere during that segment to set up the match for next week. But you have the Elite in the ring. The Young Bucks, I think it was Nick Jackson, was wearing like a nose earring that went all the way to his head. I saw someone wear that when I went to a mall about 2-3 years ago. It was before COVID. And I was like, I'm going to get one of those. I mean, it's not really, pierced, but yeah, that just gets under people's skin. I love how the Young Bucks are pissing people off. I freaking love it. By the way, we're 58 minutes in. We're going to take calls in about 5 minutes. So be ready. Be ready. And have something specific you want to get into. What are you looking forward to? Anything from All Out? Stuff from tonight? You want to talk a little NXT? That's fine. NXT or AEW. So Adam Cole talking about his match next week. He's talking about that he has been a heavyweight champion. He's been the top of his game. And now he's with the best. And he puts over the Young Bucks as the greatest tag team. By the way, Jim Ross making a comment earlier that the tag match he saw Sunday, it was the greatest tag match that he's ever called. I'm sure a lot of Hardy and Edge Christian fans will enjoy that. Don't take it personal. So Adam Cole putting over the Elite, putting over Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega gets on the mic and he's talking about their time and how it was interrupted on Sunday. Sure enough, Daniel Bryan's music hits again. BRYAN Danielson. I have to get used to saying the real name again. So BRYAN Danielson hits the ring. And Kenny Omega tells everybody to leave the ring. So it's just BRYAN Danielson and Kenny Omega. And before Kenny Omega could say anything, Bryan Danielson grabs the mic and he just tells the fans, do you want to see Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson? Everybody doing the yes. Bryan Danielson is not doing this yet because he doesn't know if it would infringe on WWE's trademark. I don't know how you could, have a problem with something that fans do at other sports games. The yes thing was done before Daniel Bryan. But still, Daniel Bryan is a consummate professional. He doesn't want to burn bridges either. So he'll let the fans do it. He'll just soak it in. So the fans are going nuts. They want to see Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. And Bryan Danielson basically saying that, the reason why Kenny Omega does not want to face Bryan Danielson is because Kenny Omega knows that he's not on Bryan Danielson's level. And the next thing you know, Bryan Danielson puts him in a LeBell lock. And again, this is like the third person in a row that Brandon Cutler just sprays and sprays and sprays their face and they don't sell it. This is like the third person in a row. Brandon Cutler is spraying his eyes with the spray, and Bryan Danielson is just with the LeBell lock and not even selling that he's getting this cold spray in his eyes. So they're all beating him down. Christian, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, they all make saves. Kazarian, chase all of them out of the ring. And that sets up Adam Cole versus Kazarian next week. So, main event tonight, man, I wish I could spend more than a minute on this. But let's be honest. For the last couple of days, I kept thinking to myself, man, I can't wait. Seriously, I can't wait to hear Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross call some of the brutal assault that Minoru Suzuki is going to do to Jon Moxley. And, I'm just like thinking to myself, this is going to be an absolute physical war. It's going to be stiff. I don't know if it'll be on the level of Walter versus Ilya, but I know it's going to be stiff and it's going to be fun. And the match starts at like 9:50 or 9:51. They don't go overtime. And literally 2-3 minutes in, we go to a commercial break. And I'm like, we're like 7 minutes from going off the air, and they do a commercial break during this match. Minoru Suzuki got busted open, I believe, around the above the eye. He was bleeding pretty good. And it came out of nowhere. And, look, Suzuki is a tough son of a bitch. Again, anybody out there that's ever, look, my fantasy match is seeing him beat the living crap out of Orange Cassidy. Anybody goes back a couple of years knows that match was supposed to happen, I think, last year, but didn't because of COVID. But this match just fell flat. I mean, Sunday, when he hit the ring and Moxley's hit him with clotheslines and he's like, and then he just like hulks up a little bit. The crowd popped. They did the exact same thing tonight. The crowd was kind of like meh about it. This match just fell completely flat. The worst part about it is he hit the paradigm shift on Minoru Suzuki. And then he took him over. And I guess it was supposed to be a second paradigm shift, or I don't even know, but it just looked like a flip. And Moxley pins him. And he just rolls out of the ring. And I know Moxley was celebrating with the crowd because it's Cincinnati and everything like that, but you have the whole entire after the show to just walk around the building, drink beers, or whatever. And it just fell flat. He licked his own blood good. He could have licked his own ass. It would not have saved that match. That match, look, maybe they abruptly finished it because maybe he was really knocked for a loop. If that's the case, I totally understand it. I don't think anybody would lie. But it was, let me say it like this. And again, I'm a big fan of the guy. I've had Moxley photos behind me also. I like both of them. But as far as big name main events on Dynamite for the last 101 episodes, big name main events, this has got to be in the top 5 of the worst. Or disappointment. I think disappointment would be the better way to put it. It wasn't a bad match. I want to make this clear. It was not a bad match. But the way it was hyped up, the way it was a dream match, the way it was a fantasy match, the way people were talking about it for the last couple of days, to have it start at 9:50, and then on top of it, go to a commercial break, and then finish 3 minutes early. 3 minutes early. It was 7 minutes, and it just was a disappointment. So, again, to summarize tonight, the non-wrestling segments, excellent. Excellent. Not everybody has to wrestle every week. But the in-ring matches, every single one of them had issues with it. And I'm not nitpicking here. The storytelling of Malakai Black wanting to destroy and literally murder, not really, but careers of the Rhodes family. And it just felt like a regular, like wrestling match, and no aftermatch anything, and no Cody. To me, I thought that was just a random announcement later on. Cody versus Malakai in Queens. I don't know. It felt, you know what it felt like tonight? It felt like AEW put too many people in the show tonight. And that's a little thing they have to be very, very careful about. They really have to be careful about, because you can't promise every single mega star on your show. If you have to sometimes rotate. And trust me, if you're in Chicago, obviously you got to put CM Punk on. But, you come to certain areas, you have to be confident that you could, if you're going to sell 10,000 tickets, you're going to sell 10,000 tickets, even if Darby is not on it. And not just Darby, but a few people are not on it. And it just feels like too many people, too many segments, and it affected the matches tonight. If they would have eliminated 2 segments, cut down another, and changed the way they handled the matches, I think it would have been a much different night tonight. So, anyway, as far as NXT goes, Kaylee Ray over Ember Moon, Santos Escobar over Carmelo Hayes, and I've been singing the praise of Hayes. Singing the praise of Hayes. I'm a poet, in case you didn't know it. The Creed brothers, I don't know, a little too bland for me, but whatever. Over Chuckie, Viola, and Paxton Averill. Io Shirai and Zoey Stark over Kayden Carter and Kacy Catanzaro. Ying over Virginia Ferry. And MSK over Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch. And we had a little bit of a turn with Pete Dunne. And it looks like we may get Pete Dunne and, Ridge Holland against those 2 guys if we don't see another bus flip. Now, the only thing I want to say about NXT that I've noticed over the last 2 weeks, I didn't see NXT yesterday. I watched a lot of it today. The one thing that I think is helping NXT tremendously right now, a lot less pressure. Throwing it out there and telling the fans that they're pretty much going back to the developmental days. So when you see Chuckie, Viola and Paxton Averill in action, nobody's going to be like, I want quality, big names. No, it's not happening all the time. And you could see some of the pressure being lifted from some of these wrestlers who are trying to hone their craft, who are trying to get better, who are trying to become big-time stars, and they don't have to feel rushed. Sure, there's always that pressure that if you don't deliver, you will be released. All these wrestlers know that when they join WWE. It's no surprise. Anybody that joins WWE, they know 6 months from now, They could be at the on top of the world, and 6 months later, they could be released. That's the risk you take when you work for a #1 billion-dollar wrestling company like WWE. If you don't want that possible letdown, if you want more creative freedom, if you want a more friendly environment, and you don't want to roll the dice and either hit gold or hit rock bottom, well, then you don't sign with WWE. It's not rocket science. Yeah. I mean, next week, I think Indy Hartwell does not marry Dexter Lumis. I think Indy Hartwell will ultimately break Dexter Lumis's heart. I think we might even see Austin Theory get involved with this. We might even see some funny-ass segments with some people interrupted. You would never expect it. But, yeah, I don't expect that wedding to go off storyline. But not a bad episode of NXT. You know, you notice the rating the last 3 weeks have gone up. I don't know what the rating was last night. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But the last 3 weeks, the ratings have gone up. No pressure. No pressure. You always have that pressure because you work for WWE. As far as the wrestlers now, they don't have to have that pressure because of the NXT and AEW stuff. And so they threw it out there. NXT just going back to their roots. I've been saying that for the longest time. Vince and Bruce Pritchard are not taking over creative. It'll be fine. So anyway, let's take some calls. We are at 1 hour and 11 minutes. I said I'd like to finish around 11:30 tonight, so I will take calls for about 20 minutes, which I think is fair. You know, all I ask, like I said, just, you know, have something specific you'd like to get into as far as AEW or even NXT. For those that are on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, maybe just listening to the show, you know, I always assume that everybody sees the numbers on the screen, which is my mistake. But if you want to call in, the numbers are 833-366-8686 or 225-DON-TONY, which is 225-366-8669. I am taking it off Do Not Disturb, and let's chat. Tomorrow we'll be taking calls again. So tomorrow you can talk about anything. It doesn't even have to be about wrestling. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony, this is Elijah.
Hey, Elijah. What's up?
Doing well. How are you today?
Good, pretty good. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So, Dynamite was a all right show. That main event, though, was pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
I gotta say. And that's something you could have saved for, like, Arthur Ashe.
Absolutely.
That was
Absolutely.
definitely one of those. Yeah. Had it had a little bit more build, you know, just putting it on and having that and just blowing it off. I wouldn't say blow it off, but it could have been built.
Yeah. Reminds me of the situation with Kenta. Kenta shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they broke down the wall, the forbidden door. Apparently the door has a lock on one side because Kenta kicked through the door and then the door locked because he couldn't find his way back in. They had the one tag match and that's it. And that's what it felt like tonight again. You know, he made an appearance, but I agree with you. That's actually an awesome idea. They should have built this up for New York. You know, maybe they have something bigger for Moxley planned for New York, but that would have been, and you know, Suzuki's going to be here till mid-October. He's going to be here till mid-October. So, yeah, I agree with you. They should have just held this off. If they wanted to have tonight, you know, be what it was because Moxley was in his hometown, you know, maybe, you know, for fun, you give Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. Two friends just brawling on TV, and then at the end of the night, they have a beer and everybody goes off the air and they're still friends.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen that.
And this will be my question, and
Sure.
this will be it. But I noticed that, going back to the main event, 7 minutes, not enough time. And I notice, and I know you notice as well, that this is a consistent thing with AEW where I feel like they just don't manage time well, because anytime I see a main event, I'm going, it was an okay main event, but it could have used 5 minutes, maybe 10 more minutes.
Yeah. It seems like they spend more time on opening matches to try to hook people in and hopefully get them to stay for the whole show. And in the opening matches, that draws them in. And then by the end of the night, they get the big name value, and it doesn't deliver as much. And, they really need to cut back a little bit. There's nothing wrong with them giving the live fans a match after the show goes off the air. We don't have to see every person that they sign. But, if I don't compare AEW to WCW. I know a lot of people like, billionaire, TNT, this and that. Well, the difference is WCW was not owned by a family. It's different. But the thing is that, it's starting to feel like WCW in the sense that they feel like they got to throw every big name out there and tease every big person doing something big on TV to try to pop numbers. Because sometimes they'll say, how many weeks did they say Sting has something to say? Sting is very upset. And he would come out there and say nothing. It was like 3-4 times in 2 months that they would have like Sting advertise, and then he would come out there and nothing. It would be nothing. Yeah. So they really got to, less is more sometimes.
Yeah. It's basically, hey, we give you what you want, and for some people, they give them what they want, but we don't give you enough time to give you what you want.
Right. Yeah. I think if you cut a few people off, save them for after the show, and, make it a little bit more time for some people during the 2 hours, I think it would, just come off so much better. It's going to burn out. I'm not saying that the fans will burn out, but it's just you're going to burn through people and it's going to get old. I'm telling you, you don't want CM Punk to come out there and cut the same promo every week. You don't want someone coming out there and saying the same thing every week. It's just, okay, it's just too much crammed into 2 hours. Too much.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
For sure.
Great question.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice talking to you.
Have a good night, my friend. Be well. Yeah, he brings up excellent point. Us wrestling fans, we want to be spoiled. Give us 1,000 people on TV. But at some point, you got to really balance it out a little bit. Tonight was a perfect example. Trust me, I know a lot of people, including yours truly, were looking forward to Minoru Suzuki versus Moxley more than anything else, and we were disappointed. So, hey, your Honor, who's this?
What's up, DT? It's me, Ignacio, a.k.a. Blazing Bolt.
Oh, Raging Bull, what's up?
No, Blazing Bolt, not Raging Bull.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I'll just put Ignacio on there, and it's cut off. Oh, I see. Not a good night. Oh, what's going on, my friend?
Not much, man. Just got home from the theaters, watched Candyman. I was like, man, I was like, oh crap, DT's on. I'm like, I gotta call.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, DT, how are you, by the way, real quick?
Yeah, not bad. I'm looking forward to, finishing the shows a little bit earlier, getting a little extra sleep, and it's good. It's good. The last week was kind of rough. The stuff with the Daphne stuff, a week ago at this time, we were just wondering, what was going on, and unfortunately, the worst news we possibly could have received, we got. But, just you got to keep going, man. You don't forget about, people that you care for, whether personally or, people you admire on TV or, outside the screen. But, you just got to keep going. So me, we'll see, man.
Keep your head up.
Yeah.
Keep your head up, DT. I got your back to the bad and good, man. So don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got one quick question,
Sure.
DT, because I know we're short on time. So Roman Reigns, I never thought I would say this, but I have become a Roman Reigns fan. I never thought I would say that. And I was going to ask you, what do you think about his career so far up to this point? And what's your opinion about him now?
What, Roman Reigns right now? Well,
yeah, like his progression from from the Shield to now.
I'll say this: COVID was not good to many people, but I honestly think it was great for Roman Reigns because by not having the live fans there, by not having a lot of this, the atmosphere of touring, be in front of live audiences and having LED screens instead, WWE controlled the narrative. They allowed a certain character to go a certain direction, and they gave it time, whether fans liked it or not, and they let him find himself. That is very difficult to do when you are touring to different states every week, that you are doing live shows in front of thousands of people in person, that they were able to go a little bit off script. And because they didn't have live fans, do that cage match with Jimmy Uso where you hear them, taunting each other, and Roman Reigns. And, COVID allowed him to really develop into the character he is now. To blend it in with tonight, I know a lot of you out there are itching to ask me, what do I think about Kenny Omega being chosen number 1 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Roman Reigns number 2? Now, I said last year for many months that I thought one of Kenny Omega's goals for 2021 is to be the Wrestler of the Year. And right now he is. Personally, I think Roman Reigns is doing a fabulous job right now. And I think that if Roman Reigns had a little bit more in the match department, I think he would easily be Wrestler of the Year so far. The problem is that, his storylines and the people he faced was a little bit lackluster. They really didn't put him in enough matches, and almost all of the matches that he had were very predictable. He needs more in the ring. You look at how many matches he's had this year, it is far less than Kenny Omega. The matches are good, but the thing is, Kenny Omega has been building his character for years and years and years. Roman Reigns had to do it in a year during COVID under different circumstances. So honestly, if you asked me who I would have picked 1 and 2, I probably would have chose Roman Reigns number 1. I think Roman Reigns is doing a great job right now, and you do not fix what's not broken. A lot of people keep saying to me, do I think Paul Heyman is going to turn on Roman Reigns? My answer is the same every time. I think Roman Reigns will turn on Paul Heyman. But no, I think he's doing a great job.
I was going to say real quick on the rankings, I wouldn't put Kenny Omega at 2. I would have probably put Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I think the problem is because the fans are not in droves watching wrestling overseas, they don't talk about him enough. It's just, that's why Japanese wrestlers, you'll always see some people, I'm not saying he's Japanese, but I'm saying wrestlers who perform in Japan majority of their year, they'll usually be featured in the top 10. But unless you're someone like Okada, it is almost impossible to make that number 1 unless every match you do is a 5-star match. So I understand why you say that. I just think there's not enough eyes to see that to understand why he should be there. Top 5, yes. If he wrestled more in the States, I would give him number 1 or number 2.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, DT, for your time.
You're welcome.
Take care, man, and keep your head up, man.
Be well.
You got my support.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
All the best.
Appreciate it.
And everybody, I always say it, each and every one of you out there, keep your head up, man. Everybody's going through crap. It just happens in different ways for everybody. You just got to, it gets better. It gets better. Believe me. I have known a lot of people in my lifetime, and there's been a few tragedies, no question. But I always say for a lot of you out there, everybody that you come across over the years, friends, family, neighbors, co-workers that have gone through some very rough times. How many of them ended up in the ultimate tragedy? Very, very few. That means that the odds are you will bounce back. So, all right, let's do another 10 minutes. And again, tomorrow night, I'll be taking calls all throughout the night. So we got tomorrow. I'm opening up the phone lines again right now. I see a few people trying to call in. So I know there's a gentleman in California that's really trying to go through. So if you call back, I'll get you in. I'll get you in. So 225 Don Tony, 833. Here we go. Here's Callie. Good evening, Your Honor. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony.
Hey, what's going on?
It's Steven. I think I've
Steven.
talked to you for a while. Hey.
Hey.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. How are you doing? Pretty good?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Decent night of Dynamite. You know, not a bad show. I think it's been a decent week for wrestling. So can't really complain. I mean, coming off a pay-per-view that I think was pretty awesome. I can't complain too much. What's going on with you?
I just had some questions for you.
Sure.
About tonight, just wrestling in general. Yeah. So I heard that Kevin Owens' contract expires early next year, and I'm hearing rumors that he might leave WWE. I'm just hearing, but I just want to get your thoughts on.
Wishful thinking by a lot of people. A lot of people that don't like WWE. It's strange because you got wrestlers that are in WWE, and it's weird because unless they're wrestling for the promotion that they like, they pay no mind to these people. But once they're in the promotion that they like, suddenly they want to tattoo their names to their foreheads. If I'm a Kevin Owens fan, I enjoy Kevin Owens wherever he works. And look, if his contract ends and he wants a much lighter schedule and sacrifice some money and being able to spend some more time with his family, I am 100% behind that. If Kevin Owens wants to stay in WWE, I am 100% behind that. What I won't do is because I want him in AEW, I'm not going to turn around and try to force this narrative that he's leaving, his contract is up, he's definitely walking out, because nobody knows that except for Kevin Owens and his family. So when people clickbait that, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people on YouTube, big, bold headlines, Kevin Owens leaving in January, and this and that. If you want to talk about it as an opinion or as what you would like to see, that's fine. When people report it as news, that's where they go wrong. So if he ends up leaving, I will support him wherever he goes and enjoy it. It's not my place to say where he should work and not work. As a wrestling fan, I could fantasize him working against some people. But, right now, it's just rumors. It's nothing more rumors. Yeah. Other people will try to convince you that it's much more than just rumors, but that's only because they want you to tune into their discussion, their show. But at the end of the day, I like being right 100% of the time. I don't like being right 60% of the time. And, when I do get it right, I could brag, but when I don't get it right, at least I got 100,000 people tuning in. No, I'd rather be right and sacrifice attention than to be wrong just to get attention. So.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't said nothing, so, we shouldn't, worry.
Yeah, no, wait and see. Look, it's September. Yeah. January is only 3.5 months away. About 3.5 months. So we will know soon enough. I'm not going to think about it until I know for sure if he's staying or if he's leaving. Then I'll think about it.
Yeah. My second question was in a couple weeks. You said you're going to the event in New York in AEW.
I don't know if I'm going to the AEW event yet. I tried to get a press pass.
Really?
I tried to get a press pass to cover it, maybe do a little interview or two for this channel, and I got ignored. I've been doing it since '97. I don't ask for free stuff, and I don't ask for special treatment. But I wrote it off as miscommunication in Chicago a year and a half ago, or a year ago, and now that event is 10 minutes from my house. Number one, nobody got back to me. And number two, all of these great podcasters out there and people with websites that claim they're my friends, not one of them have reached out to me yet and say, hey, DT, you want to hang out? You want to get together? You know, we're all going to hang out at Arthur Ashe. You want to go? You know, not one person reached out.
Really?
What? Yeah. So what does that tell me? What does that tell me? Honestly, I don't give a fuck about any of them. A lot of you out there reached out to me, but the point is that, you know, you over time you learn, you know, who truly are your friends and who, you know, once you come off as a little threat. Ever since I came to YouTube, maybe because other people have shows on YouTube and maybe I'm cutting into some of their views. I don't know what it is. I've been doing it since '97. I have a great time doing it, and I do it for all of you. And I'm not doing it to try to take away viewers from anyone. In fact, I've actually moved 2 of my shows because I didn't want to go up against. I mean, I'm not getting 1,000 people live all in one spot. If you add up Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and everything else, it's different. But the point is that I've been doing it since '97. I've been doing it on certain days since '97, and I do it because I enjoy doing it. Everybody tunes in. And, you know, when I said for a year and a half that people are saying, oh, DT, good luck, you know, looking out for you, supporting you, and then I get copies of DMs of people just totally like ripping me to pieces. People don't understand. People that they think that are altar boys online with their shows, they're the nicest people in the world, most wonderful people. They're the biggest backstabbers of them all. So, no. I mean, honestly, I would have dumped money into all. I wanted to buy 100 tickets, and I reached out to them, and I said, look, is there anybody I could talk to about getting a suite, buying a block, doing this? Good. They would have said to me, look, you got to go through Ticketmaster. Unfortunately, there's no other way to do it. I would have been like, okay, thank you very much. Ignored. All right. Hey, you know, how do I go about getting a press pass? I'd like to cover it for my channel, for my shows, maybe interview 1 or 2 local people, you know, talk about a few things. Ignored. So honestly, I don't kiss ass to nobody. But again, you know, when people say, oh man, you know, I can't wait. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's all get together. And I'm basically standing here like a goof. And all these people are all playing in this stuff. And I get no, fuck that. I'll stay home. I'll save money. I'm getting married next September. I'll put my money towards that. So I don't care. It's all good. I do this for all of you. I don't do it for other people. I'll never do it for other people, you know, unless they pay me. I'm talking about companies. So.
Wow. That's
Thank you for pissing me off, by the way. No, I'm only kidding. It's all good. Look, I have no personal dislike for any of them, but it kind of just shows me like who truly gives a shit. The only person that truly reached out was Lee and Mish, but neither one of them are in New York. No one else. Not one other person that has shows and stuff out there. Because they're very selfish people, you know. But it's all good. It's all good. Not a big deal. No, Benjamin, I'm not pissed at AEW. I just swear like, okay, you know, no problem. No problem. Actually, you want to know something? Tomorrow, you all get a kick out of something. Speaking of, a lot of you don't know this, but 2 days ago, I get an email that UPS is delivering a box to me from WWE. The only thing that I've ordered from WWE over the last month, other than a couple of prizes for people was a Seth Rollins shirt. Yesterday, I got delivered a box that's about this big. I have no idea what's inside, and it's sealed inside, and I'm opening it tomorrow on the show. I have no idea who sent it to me in WWE. I don't even know. It's not anybody who tunes in, like viewers, because nobody has my home address. So I have no idea what's in the box, but the box is about this big. So I'm going to open it up tomorrow on the show. So what else is on your mind?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have one final question. So AEW, now they have CM Punk, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, Ruby, right? I don't think it's competition with WWE right now. It's like Vince shouldn't be mad right now, right? Like you know what I mean, Don Tony? Like,
listen, I have been saying this for a while. The only competition that is going on right now between AEW and WWE is these companies are trying to get you to spend money on their products. That's what it is. AEW, when they signed CM Punk, signed Bryan Danielson, I'll say what I said a month ago when people were predicting 1.8 million and 2 million in the viewers for CM Punk, whether it was Rampage or Dynamite. I said that I truly believe that a majority of CM Punk fans were already AEW fans, just like a majority of Daniel Bryan fans were also fans of AEW, because AEW, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and a lot of these others, it's like a Ring of Honor, New Japan type style and atmosphere. And if you like some of these guys, chances are you enjoyed AEW more than you enjoyed WWE. There wasn't this huge audience out there that just was not watching wrestling because CM Punk was not performing. That's just not true. And case in point, Rampage on Friday did 600,000 viewers. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I said for 10 to 11 p.m., 5 to 650 should be their range. That is not a disappointment. It's not a failure. AEW tonight, my guess is they might do 1.2 million. Might do 1.2 million. People think, oh my God, Adam Cole, this, that. Adam Cole was at the top of NXT and only did 600,000 viewers. Even if every single person who watches NXT decided to watch this tonight, it's still under 2 million viewers. So the only competition is that AEW would like to get you to buy their merchandise and their pay-per-views before you spend it on WWE. The problem is like what I said yesterday. You go on Pro Wrestling Tees right now and order a Malakai black shirt, and you, God forbid, is size 2XL. That shirt costs you $40. I got an email earlier today from New Japan, their California store, not Japan, California. They're selling a Minoru Suzuki shirt. $55. $55. I said, does it come with a little bit of his real blood with it as well? These people are selling shirts for $40. 2 years ago, these shirts were $22. So you want to buy an $8 ice cream bar, a $16 ice cream bar, a $40 shirt, a $60 pay-per-view. You want to pay inflated prices, but in return, you're getting to see your favorites perform on AEW, have the creative freedom, and have some fantasy matches that you always wanted to see. If you feel you're getting your money's worth, it's all good. It's all good. The question is, how many people are willing to do that? How many people? That's why I said earlier this week that it blows my mind that AEW is not trying to sell loads and loads of autographs. Just have CM Punk and Darby Allin sign 100 photos, limited to 100, a picture of from their match on Sunday. Sell it for $149. Everybody makes crazy ass money. It's just shirts, hats, and pay-per-views and tickets, obviously, and ice cream bars. But the thing is that everything is being inflated in pricing. But if you feel that you're getting your money's worth, then it's money well spent. I have no problem with anybody that wants to spend $100 on an ice cream bar. If you enjoyed it, then that's fine. The competition right now is AEW and WWE trying to compete for your dollar. That's it. They're trying to compete for your dollar. And what's happening with Impact and MLW and NWA and others is they're trying to get the scraps. They're trying to get the scraps. And that's why there's no forbidden door. If there's a forbidden door, you would see some of these people working a lot more things. You show up once, the forbidden door. This is promotions that understand that WWE and AEW are kicking the living shit out of them with pay-per-view buys and everything else. Why would I buy, a Trevor Murdoch shirt, for $40 where I want to buy this shirt, and this shirt, and this shirt, and this shirt? They're competing for the scraps. So they have to do some business with AEW because it gives them a little bit of extra advertising. And AEW in the process is like, okay, give me this person, give me this person, give me this person. You see Layla Hirsch, I'll say it for the third time. Layla Hirsch, she wrestled Camille in NWO. When Layla Hirsch is in NWA, Layla Hirsch is legit. When Layla Hirsch wrestles next week against Jade Cargill, Layla will be shit. In NWA, she's legit. In AEW, she's treated like shit. You watch next week. We'll see what happens in that match. She'll end up getting squashed like a grape. She might get 2-3 moves and that's it. So that's the competition right now. Trying to get you to spend money on them first. Everyone else has got to hope. That's why Impact Wrestling, their biggest draw is their eBay. You go on eBay, they do a table spot. Sami Callihan autographs like 95 pieces of a table. A knockout, all the knockouts. Hey, put on this shirt. Okay, take a picture. And what they do is they autograph the shirt. They auction off the shirt. They auction off a picture of them wearing the shirt that they're autographing. They're auctioning off an autographed photo of the picture of the shirt that they're wearing. Impact Wrestling is trying to get memorabilia. That's how they're trying to get all the extra money. If AEW starts pushing out memorabilia with autographs and everything else, I think it's going to kill a lot of promotions out there. There's a lot of people that like collecting autographs, but that's the competition. I'll say one last thing and then we got to go. I brought this up a couple of years ago. I brought it up yesterday on Patreon, and I think it's probably the best example I could say about Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, CM Punk, or anybody else in AEW right now. When Becky Lynch, before she became the man, when they would do autograph signings, and let's say WWE would get 3,000 people in an autograph signing, Becky Lynch would get about 400 or 500 people. And, fine. Once Becky Lynch became the man, Becky Lynch would get the most people in an autograph signing. Here's the problem. Even though Becky Lynch, she used to get 500 people, now she's getting 1,500 people. The problem is, at the end of the day, WWE is still getting 3,000 people in the door. You have to get 4,000 people in the door, 5,000 people in the door, 10,000 people in the door. At the end of the day, if the ratings are still around 1.1, 1.2, 1.1, 1.2, 950, 1.3, basically, you're not getting any fans to cross over from the competitor. You're not getting any casual fans to tune into the product again. So it's all nice to be getting a lot of focus on one person, but if it's also at the sacrifice of other people in your company, all you're doing is shifting money around. And that's what happened with Becky Lynch. WWE was still getting the same number of people at their autograph signings. It's just that more people said, I want Becky Lynch. And they have to build. They have to build. And we'll give them time. AEW deserves the time to give them to build.
Yeah, Don Tony. And I see that, NXT next week is changing up a bit. I saw them, their logo.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
It's okay. All different colors, shapes, styles,
Yeah.
characters. It's a big palette.
Yeah.
As long as I enjoy the product, I don't care what the logo is. All right, my friend.
It's nice talking to you, by the
Yeah,
way.
have a
Nice
good
talking to
night.
you.
All the best to you.
Have a good night.
All right. All right, since I got on a little bit of a rant twice, I'll stick around for another 5-10 minutes. I think that's only fair. Good evening, you're on. Who's this? Oh, we lost him. Maybe I won't stick around for another 5-10 minutes. I love all you calling in with these great questions. I like being challenged with stuff like that. I'm sorry if I go off a little bit on a tangent, but I really try to bring my point across. But I'll keep the phone lines open for another 5 minutes. So if you want to call in quick, I'll lift the Do Not Disturb one more time, 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 10:05, we'll be right back here. Tomorrow, anything goes. Whatever you want to talk about, it could be, if you want to talk Impact, that's fine. Non-wrestling, that's fine. All right. Took the Do Not Disturb off, so if you want to call in, I think Ben tried to call in the other day, and he was having problems. All you got to do is dial a number. So hang on a second, everybody. Let me just lift this. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. I got to get a better program. That's another thing. I reached out to, like just on a show not too long ago, like, hey, to my fellow podcasters out there, let me know what program you use to take calls. Nobody replied. Not one person. All right. Let me disconnect this. All right. I'm opening the phone line, so here you go. Last chance. We'll do 5 more minutes. If not, I'm going to call it, and then we'll continue this tomorrow, see what AEW's rating is. As far as contests this week, I know people were asking about that. We did the predictions contest for AEW over the weekend for the channel members. I'll think about something. I have an idea. I have a few ideas. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey.
I'll think about something. This is Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Am I
Ah,
on?
all right.
I tried to call in Monday and it showed up as a Louisiana number, so I thought that was.
Oh,
I thought it
no.
was the
I
wrong
don't.
number.
Honestly, I don't block anything by area codes or anything like that. I mean, sometimes it just, because there's 2 different phone numbers, sometimes it pops up as my phone number. One is Google Hangouts. The other one, I
Okay.
use a telephone service. So I think sometimes the Google Hangout one will just pop up with my phone number. So I have no idea sometimes when some people call in. But if long
All right.
distance is not an issue for some, then they just use the 225 number. So what's going on?
Okay. I just was wondering, did you see that media scrum from All Out after All Out?
No, honestly,
They
I look, I'll be straight up. I am not a professional. I'll never be a professional. I'll never be polished. And I know there's a lot of other people out there that are the same also. So I really can't criticize them. But when I watched some of the early media scrum with Tony Khan months ago, I just can't. I mean, these are people more like, if you catch a celebrity on the street or in a diner or in an airport, I think people are more starstruck. And more importantly, I think they literally sit at home and they just fantasize the absolute perfect question that they think will be epic, amazing, unbelievable, that people will always remember, instead of just whatever is important for that moment or what it came out of the pay-per-view, you just bring it up. And people come up there with these pre-planned, pre-things, and it just comes off ridiculously bad. That's why I even said it on Patreon yesterday, with all due respect to some people out there. There's some people that really support AEW and are truly innocent about it. They're good-hearted. But even Tony Khan jokes and say, yeah, they're fans of AEW, maybe a little too much. They know when people are just a little bit like, your priorities are a little bit off here. So trust me, I mean, Tony Khan will always take in the appreciation, the attention, the advertisement, and the praise. But they even look and they're like, whoa, this person, like just, I think he's a little bit too much in love with me and what we do. So no, I didn't watch it because I feared that's what we were going to get. That's why one of the first questions I would have asked CM Punk was, have you talked to 𝗁𝗀'𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 since you've signed with AEW? Not to cause controversy, but I think that would be a pretty cool thing to hear that they buried the hatchet, especially under the circumstances. And from what you all said tonight, no one asked that. I could only imagine what was asked.
Actually, on the first one, that guy that you used to love so much, David Dixonspan, asked if Punk had bad, had a heat with people there, and asked if he had talked to any of those people or what happened with that, and they didn't. He said he didn't want to talk about it. More or less, is what he said.
See,
Punk claimed that he got along with everybody, is what Punk claimed.
Yeah. See, I don't know why David would be so afraid to name names. It's such a generic statement. Oh, the people you don't get along with, like who? Like who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like such a broad statement. Like, what do you, are you fine now with everybody you had heat with? Like, who are you even talking about? I hate when people do that stuff. That's pretty much like, you don't have the, with all due respect to David, it sounds like you think you have the balls to ask the gotcha question, but you don't have the balls to ask the gotcha question. So you answer it in a very general way, and honestly, I don't think David deserved an answer. Go out there and say, people like 𝗁𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁, and maybe this person and this person, have you buried the hatchet? Have you talked to them? But even the way it's presented, why would you even say, oh, have you settled everything with people you had heat with?
Yeah.
Why not just say, have you talked to 𝗁𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗁 since you signed? Is everything cool? Like, that's a pleasant way of saying it. But saying, oh, everybody you had heat with. If I'm CM Punk, I'm like, fuck you. I'm not answering that. I don't blame CM Punk for answering that.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
It was funny, too, because he kept having tech issues. I was wondering if he was ever going to get to talk.
I don't know, man. I don't know how these people have all these tech issues. I don't get it. I mean, I get a little tech issue here and there. There's no doubt, but it's not brain surgery. You have a good, strong internet connection, and you have good on your phone or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could see the bars on your phone. If you're in an area and you're getting low bars and like, oh, maybe I shouldn't call in for the scrum. I only have one bar. I mean, walk out of the bathroom and, put the lotion down and go into a room with a better signal. Go sit in your car if you have to. But I don't know. I don't like David. I don't like David.
Well,
he tries to pretend like he has balls, but he don't have balls.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I was concerned about when they had Daniel Bryan talking on there on this recent one, he said that WWE pretty much offered him a lot of money and was going to let him do outside things. I don't know if that meant working Japan or not, but he mentioned that Vince is overprotective, so I'm kind of concerned that AEW is basically going to let him do whatever he wants, and he might end up hurting himself or something.
Yeah, I totally understand why you and a lot of people would feel that way, because I'm with you on that one. Daniel Bryan, for those that missed it, Daniel Bryan had nothing but praise for Vince. That Vince truly cares about him and it's reciprocal. He thinks that Vince McMahon is a little too overprotective of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan wants to do more, and Vince does not want him to do the things he wants to be able to do in the ring. And he felt that Vince is a little too overprotective. Now, the thing is, Vince is not a doctor. And is Vince getting this from doctors, or is this Vince just seriously concerned about someone who had some serious issues back in the day? If Daniel Bryan has a match and then something goes wrong with him medically, then it turns into like, wow, did Vince have some type of documentation or proof or something from doctors that really put up a red flag and Tony Khan ignored it? Or is it nothing? I hope we never have to answer that question, but I totally understand why you say that, because the way Daniel Bryan said it, a lot of people interpreted that Vince thinks I'm going to get hurt. He thinks I can't do this stuff. It's too risky, and Tony Khan's going to let me do it. That's how a lot of people interpret it.
I'm worried about that.
Yeah. He doesn't have to do, I mean, Daniel Bryan only has one speed, but, the challenge is, you are getting older. You might feel that you're okay up here. You might feel okay over here, but inside, he is getting older, and you just can't do the things you want to. So that's the challenge for Daniel Bryan, to maybe come up with some other things that look freaking awesome, but are not as risky. So I hope that he ends up, I hope he's okay. I hope he remains healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to do the dive, the suicide dives, or the headbutt anyway, because those aren't even.
Everybody else does it.
They're not even that good of a move anyway.
When everybody else does it, it doesn't feel special anymore.
Yeah.
Even if he was the innovator of one of those moves, if everybody else does it, it just doesn't feel special anymore. Now everybody kicks out of the Canadian Destroyer. Now it's like a novelty move. It's just, he doesn't need to do some of the things he used to. Fans will still love him and still enjoy his work and still pay to see him, even if he does less.
Yeah, the only other thing that kind of caught my eye, I don't know if it's really something you think is a big deal or not, that somebody asked if about the Lucha Brothers facing the NWA tag team champions, and then Tony Khan came in and he said, well, that would be up to him, and then he asked who they are, and then he said that, well, I think we have enough good tag teams in AEW for the Lucha Brothers to face, and I don't know if he was being completely serious with that or not, or if he was serious, it seemed kind of like a burial toward NWA,
No, I think Tony Khan now, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I said 6 months from now, that forbidden door will suddenly be closed. I think these promotions now have to work on their own stuff, because Tony Khan has all the wrestlers he needs to do what he does. And he doesn't need NWA anymore. He doesn't need a lot of these other promotions. And that's why, when you saw, so many, things going AEW's way, and then, send us somebody to wrestle for NWA, and they gave Layla Hirsch. Not against Layla Hirsch, but you would have thought it would have been a much bigger name. And, you think back early on, before Thunder Rosa was signed, before Ricky Starks was signed, before some other people were signed, they were being allowed to work for AEW, and the fans bought into them, and they ended up leaving NWA for AEW. So AEW, in the end, they're going to be like, they're the ones that are going to lock the forbidden door and say, we don't need you right now. But
they got what they need.
Yeah, they got what they need. And they feel like if somebody happens to be available that they think that they could get a nice main event off of, then they may open that door again, bring that person in, and then what they give back will be far less. That's why you've seen almost nothing show up on Impact Wrestling. I'm not saying Kenny Omega is nothing, but, it's just even NWA. Who has really showed up on NWA to feud with Nick Aldis or anyone else? Nobody.
Yeah.
Because NWA could use AEW, but AEW does not need NWA.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to let you go, because I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, much love, my friend.
Call in. I haven't called in a long time since it was the old shows.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do it again tomorrow. So if you have anything else on your mind, call in tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks.
Be well, Ben. Take care.
Thanks.
Tell you, great calls tonight. I love the calls, man. I love talking to people who are, have half a brain. And trust me, everybody tonight has more than half a brain. It's great to have, because you know what? A lot of the questions that everybody calls in, I know a lot of you are asking too. So that's why I really enjoy taking calls. That was one thing back in the day that was a little bit why I stopped taking calls. And we're going to wrap this up now. But back in the day, what started happening is we would get the same people call in every single week. And then what would also happen is when people would call in, hey, what's going on? Hey, did you watch Raw tonight? Yeah, we just talked about it for an hour, hour and a half. Oh, I saw it. It was good. Okay. What else is going on? Nothing. And that's how some of the calls would go. And, I felt bad for some. And believe me when I tell you, I got to say this seriously. I know this is going to sound goofy, and I'm not trying to kiss ass. But, when I see people saying to me, oh, my God, I feel nervous calling in, I am just the same person like all of you out there. I just may be fatter and maybe older, but we're all the same. I ain't no famous person, ain't no celebrity. You want to call in and you want to challenge me. You want to debate something, you want to ask me something, call in. Nobody is an expert here. Nobody is a pro. Nobody's going to laugh you out of the building. If you see the chat room, most of the chat usually praises everybody that calls in. Awesome conversation, excellent caller. They're not looking to get hand jobs from the callers. They just appreciate great discussion. So never feel like you can't call in. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to get out of here. We ended up going 2 hours. Look, 40 minutes of calls. Not bad. Third of the show. I love chatting with all of you. And we'll do this tomorrow. So 10:05 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern. Now, before I go, it would be absolutely disrespectful if I didn't do a couple of shout outs. I realized that the Streamlabs thing was not popping up tonight. Shout out to Puffy89. Pretty good show tonight. Love the Pillman family involvement, and kudos to the person with the Daphne sign, visible all night. Yes. A little surprised the lack of tribute towards her. Yeah, I'm a little biased about that, but still, I'm a little surprised at that. But still, beautiful sign. Very, very sad tragedy. But and you know what? It's refreshing to not see so many people triggered about the Pillman MJF stuff, because some of the stuff that MJF said tonight is extremely outrageous. You do that with a wrestling character, okay, fine. You do that to people on social media, you don't know how you're seriously hurting someone's feelings on the opposite side. And I say you got to be a little more careful of people that you don't know. Big Armada, Tony Schiavone, good sport. Yeah. I tell you, a lot of people criticize Schiavone, but I've been singing the praise of him since day one with Dynamite. It's fun to hear Tony Schiavone still do commentary. He obviously is much more laid back compared to his previous days, WCW, NWA, even a little WWF. But I like Tony Schiavone. I really can't complain. It's just his son is not ready for prime time. Never forget that. He had his hands on his legs. That was awful. Courtney Summers, she is salty that they didn't let the crowd shout 𝘁cie 𝘶𝗓𝗓. Is that how you say it? I don't even know how to say it. That's when she knew the match was not going to be good. Yeah. What a disappointment. Really disappointment. I don't want to see the guy injured. But the only way I accept how the match went down tonight is if I hear that he got knocked for a loop. Papo Jr. Oh, maybe it was showing up tonight. I didn't change anything. Papo Jr. What's up? Welcome back to the family, my friend. But, yeah, I just, what a disappointing match. Seriously. That was not very good. Anybody that tells you it was good, yeah, we did have a great show tonight, Roger. Always. Fun convo. Great times. We can enjoy a show without, praising every little aspect of it. Again, I thought the non-wrestling segments tonight were fabulous. The in-ring wrestling was average at best. It had its moments. All wrestling shows have its moments, but there were a lot of things tonight that just could have been so much better. It just felt, AEW does mismanage time sometimes. I think tonight they mismanaged time more than anything else. I mean, even the Sammy Guevara stuff. Like, why do we even need to see a split screen of him going out there with the cards during the commercial? I mean, it was, it's nice to see Sammy, but not everything needs to be televised. It just felt like, all right, we need to put 80 people on that show, and we're going to get them in there one way or the other. And it hurt some of the other matches, in my opinion. Don Tony got divorced. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did not even see that before. Yeah, I did. And I got it annulled too. So, I don't regret it, man. I don't regret it. I married a wacko, and 6 months later it was over and I got it annulled, and I'm going to, walk that aisle next September. Woo! Wow, I got to look back in the chat to see if all you got a good laugh out of that. So I could laugh at myself. It's all good. It's all good. But his face looks familiar. I don't think he was being a dick about this. Trust me, she was a wacko. King of Games 405. Do I like the slow build of CM Punk going against younger talent before going against some of the bigger names? It's not that I like it. It's just only one person could go for the title at one time. They have to do the slow build. They don't want to burn through CM Punk and Daniel Bryan within a couple of weeks of each other. They got a pay-per-view in November. They got a Queen show coming up. They're trying to sell 15,000-seat arenas. And, that's the thing that AEW needs to work on too. A feud leading up to a championship match, let's say Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. It should not only be one match. Where's the house shows where these two guys face each other on house shows? Maybe tweaking things and working things out and building things up. I mean, you look at some of the legendary feuds, even Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, at points, they were working all the house shows. They'd wrestled 10, 15, 20 times. When you hear Ric Flair talking about all the 1 hour Broadways he had with Ricky Steamboat, that wasn't just for pay-per-view. So why is it that these guys only have one match against the champion? So it's not even needing more titles. They just need to let these guys work against each other and on some house shows. It could end in disqualifications. They can't just have one-offs. You can't just have Bryan Danielson face Kenny Omega once, and that's it, on to the next challenger. So to me, that's the only reason why CM Punk is going to be facing some of these other guys, because they want to keep him occupied so fans don't start demanding CM Punk take on Kenny Omega right now. Personally, I think AEW should consider doing like a 6-pack challenge down the line. Maybe like Kenny Omega versus CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson versus Moxley versus Kingston versus like 5 or 6 people. Why not? Have a match like that. I think people would call that incredible. So with that said, everybody, thank you all, as always, for the great questions. Shout out to my elite members here, subscribe, channel members. Shout out to my channel subscribers as well. And going forward, I have to shout out the commanders of the Donzilla Army at the beginning of every show. They definitely deserve much earlier shout out. It's just, I get preoccupied sometimes. But great show tonight, great discussion, great calls. Very good episode of Dynamite. Really cannot complain overall. If any of you out there that are tuning in did not see Dynamite tonight and you're thinking about seeing it, tune in. There's enough to be very entertained overall. But I just find it very interesting that AEW is really starting to cut back on the matches. More than you think. I think we had 5 matches tonight. Add up the amount of time they were in the ring. It was not that much. Everybody always talks about WWE. They had a 3-hour show and they only had an hour and 20 minutes of wrestling. Well, when you have a 2-hour show and you only have 40 minutes of wrestling, that's about the same ratio. All right, everybody. I'm out of here. If you're around tomorrow night at 10:05 p.m., join me. We'll have a fun show. Anything goes tomorrow. So anything that's on your mind, wrestling or not, we'll be taking calls all throughout the night. We'll be chatting as well. And it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. So everyone, thank you as always for the support. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button on the way out. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. If you know anyone else out there that you think would like the channel, let them know about it. Spread the word, because that does help the Donzilla Army tremendously too. So good night, everybody. Be well. Ciao.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.